Okay, I'm here with John McDonald, the one and only, the best MC in the world. Sorry, Mike, and sorry, Bruce. John is the best. Hey, hi, John.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. Nice to see you. We haven't been able to catch up for a while because of the madness.
Yeah, it's been a strange year, really. I suppose it's the same the world over. You've heard lots of rumors in the Philippines about our death rate being very high and as such. But, you know, in all honesty, personally, I think it's been handled extremely well. I mean, it's who knows how to handle something that no one's ever experienced before. I think, you know, I don't know how confident you've been in your own situation at home, but, you know, for instance, a majority of the inoculation program has been rolled out in the UK. So most of us have received our first jab, and most of the elderly have received their second jab. So we're hoping that they've got some form of immunity to it. But it's trying to get back to life. And you know, as a businessman, and I know as a businessman, that it's important that commerce gets up and running very soon, because, you know, how do you exist?
Yeah, and you as an MC, you used to work with big group of people. I mean, you're in front of thousands and thousands of people. And
well, it hit us in March on about our 4th Premier League night. It was about the 13th of March last year when we went into lockdown, and that was the last big event. And we had about 12,000 people at the Liverpool Arena watching the Premier League darts, one of our most successful darts events. It's about 4 months of Thursdays, about 17 Thursdays around the country and around Europe. And we'd only accomplished about 4 or 5 before we went into lockdown. It was hellish. Mm. The entire country went into lockdown for those months, and then it started to release. And then the PDC, the Professional Darts Corporation, along with Sky Television, ITV, and their own world broadcast outlet, decided to do some behind closed doors. So we did that. And I got to say, it was very different to be on a big sporting stage, exactly the same, with the same players, just no crowd. It was just the weirdest thing you could ever imagine. It was, so we've got used to doing that. We did the World Championships like that. We've done the Masters like that, the UK Open, the Premier League. We finished the Premier League off by doing consecutive nights behind closed doors. And we're back again with the Premier League, doing the first 9 days next month. So we'll have 9 days behind closed doors, of which people at home can watch and enjoy. Very, very different.
How do the players, I mean, you've done darts, all sports, billiards, the whole thing. How do the players see it without any audience, any spectators?
Well, some players have done very well. The players that find the pressure of a live audience affects their game have done extremely well. We've seen a lot of tournaments change hands from the usual suspects to new players that have accepted that this new method suits them, and they've done very well with it.
But you as an MC, how do you talk to an empty crowd?
Well, there's nobody there. But you at home, you're talking to people at home.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you can't say anymore, hello, good evening, for the thousands joining us live and the millions joining us around the world. Those words don't appear in the same sentence anymore.
Yeah. No, it must be very difficult.
You and I, along with your partners and our partners in the Philippines and friends that we know, I know that we was discussing putting a tournament on for you guys to experience the same thing, bring a couple of players from the UK, set a scene. I went to a tournament in the Philippines with Ben Knoll, who runs the Philippine Darts organization brilliantly. I went to one, took Jonathan with me.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, we had a fantastic time. And we decided then we would organize something. Now, you know, that's something nice for people to look forward to in the Philippines, but we can't give you a date or a time. I don't think anybody can. But it all's not lost. I think we have to be positive about it.
Yeah, I mean, life goes on whether we like it or not, and it is what it is. But there's so many things that has been put on hold, and I would just like to tell my viewers that it's nearly 20 years ago since we met, right?
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, you're my longest friend. From the first day I came, the very first person I met was you, and you were very, very kind to us. You was a real help because it's very difficult in a strange country, a new country. We didn't quite know how things worked, and you was very, very good. You gave us great advice, very, very kind, very generous, looked after us, and we built up a friendship that can be quite one-sided. I could never ever seem to be able to repay you for all your generosity, you guys. But however, you know, having said that, yeah, we've enjoyed a great friendship over the years, and we always keep in touch, which is nice. And we've always got ideas, and we've both got the same thing in common, in that we all love sport, and we really love the Philippines. And because of that, you know, we tried to combine both, you know.
Yeah, but also the Filipinos will never forget what you guys at that time Matchroom did for Django Bustamante.
Oh, for sure.
You know what happened?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, that was horrific. That was horrific for Django. Had one of the best times in his career and one of the worst times in his career. You know, for those that don't remember what happened, he was in the final of the World Pool Championship, and sadly, his daughter passed away in the Philippines, and he was with us in the UK. And we just threw an arm around him and got him home as soon as we could. And I don't think he ever forgot that.
No, he never forgot it.
You know, very, very kind to me. I tried to help him. I mean, I think it's unimaginable for most people in life to imagine how horrific that must have been. And I just, luckily for me, I had my wife with me, and she was very helpful too. And we looked after him, and we got him to the airport, and we got him home as best we could, as quick as we could. And, you know, I don't think he ever forgot that. He's always been very, very generous to us whenever I've been there. He's always given me a lot of time. Yeah. In fact, when I returned to the Philippines after that horrific incident, our first event in the Philippines, he sent fruits and drinks and food to my room, and you know, and then he took me that very first night. He took me to meet you. Our friendship has been solid as a rock ever since.
Yeah. No, when he called me up, he said, "Look after these guys. Whatever they need, do it."
Yeah.
And well, he will never forget it.
You know, it was. You have a number of great places for us to go, of which I think I've been to all of them, and that you run a very, very good business there, and it was a no-brainer for us because, first of all, there's nothing better than a personal guide. Sometimes, I mean, now, when people ask me about going to the Philippines, and I say, sure, I said, but just accept one thing. It's their country. It's their pace. Whatever they want to do, it's not yours. Just accept it. You can't repair it overnight. They do a lot of things wrong. They do a lot of things right. So just go with the flow. Correct. And I think that's a great policy to have, you know, and
I never forget when you guys did the first world pool champion here, I asked you one favor, and that was to meet Steve Davis.
Yeah. I remember that because you've done so much, and you said to me, I said, what can I do now? What would you like? What would you like to go? You said, no, I would just like to meet Steve, because I know as a junior, as a young boy, you was mad on snooker. And I know because of your age that Steve dominated the world of snooker with the 6 world championships and
Indeed.
hundreds of tournaments he's won. And you know, because you met him, he's probably the greatest ambassador to ever pick up a stick, ever.
Yeah, I agree.
All snooker, he is and has time for everyone.
Mm.
And I brought him to you, and your smile on your face was priceless. And we had a great time. And I think we came many times and you wasn't there. You know, we went back to the club and we had after work, you know, I mean, I think it's like in any business, really. When you finish work, you like to unwind a bit. And Paul, with the likes of Django and the likes of Efren and so many young Filipino pool players, they have an air of confidence about them. And when you're with them in a room, everybody's like, oh, they must be good guys. They're with the pool players. And the same you get when you've been with Manny anywhere. You know, I went to Las Vegas and we've done work with Manny in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And the same happens, you know, when you show people a photograph of you with them, they're like, really? You know them guys? You know, I must say, I did have one very, very funny thing happen. As you remember, when we did the World Pool Championship, the host broadcaster was Fox. And we had the world broadcaster was Fox. And of course, you also had Solar in the Philippines.
In the Philippines, yeah.
Yeah, and so it was the World Cup of Pool, and we was doing it in a shopping center down in Quezon City.
Correct.
Which, and we stayed in a hotel which was close to Makati, so we had to do that traffic business every day.
Correct.
And you never knew if it would take you 10 minutes or an hour. So we was always either an hour early for work or 50 minutes late. You know, you never knew.
Yeah. No, I picked up Luke there a couple of times. So I know
Correct.
he's not with Matchroom anymore, but
Yeah. But no, he's just moved on. He did like 27 years there, you know, and he felt like it was time to do other things, and like so many people do. I think I'm still one of the longest serving members that still works there, you know, which is great, and long may it continue. And you know how difficult it was to get a taxi sometimes. It was, you know, can be horrific. I become the kind of world's leading expert in the end on getting taxis. And I think I kind of knew them all by the end of the time. But the funny thing that happened, clearly the Philippines had a very strong team in Django and Efren. They put them together, and they were the old masters of the pool table. And they got through to the semi-final. And they did it very quickly. I think they won 5-0 or something like that. You know, it was an all Scotch double. So you saw both of them playing all the time. It was really good, really exciting. The crowd was mad. I mean, they were queuing from early morning until we finished just to get a glimpse of them. And you used to sit in the front row always. And always. And you was like the biggest fan in the building. I used to laugh because Jonathan would want to walk around and see everybody, but you was so dead set on watching the game. Yeah. And I'm listening on the earpiece. I brought the players into the arena, and basically my job was finished. I wait for the next match. It was, in fact, the last match. And we had loads of time. And the director said to me, John, go and interview them. So I walk on to the set. We're live around the world. And I walk straight in the middle of them. The guys know me very well. And I say, congratulations, gentlemen. You're into the semi-final. What was it like playing in front of your home crowd like this? And the crowd went crazy when I said that, all still cheering and shouting. And they calmed down. And Efren said, can I speak Tagalog? I said, sure. So for the next 10 minutes, both of them were speaking, and I don't understand one word in the middle. And I'm looking at the cameraman and the producer and Luke and Sharon and many others, and they're just crying with laughter because in the middle, I'm just standing there going like this.
I remember that.
What they're saying, but what am I supposed to do? You know, it was hilarious. I thought, damn, I'm going to have to learn this language.
Yeah. Well, we gave Sharon a VIP when she arrived in the airport anyway. So
Yeah, always. Yeah. I mean, it was lovely when it's funny, but we did that for quite some time, and we built up a great rapport in the Philippines. And, I've been many times on various adventures I'm always keeping in touch and hoping that maybe one day something can be done. And in fact, I did get the Philippine darts team back into the PDC. Well, not me personally, but Matt Porter, who worked very, very hard to make the World Cup of darts a real global event. And you've got some great players in the Philippines. And it's just like many things. Once they get going, I think we'll be okay. I think you're shine. But we need to do events. They need to get the experience. And so I'm hoping we can do something in association with you guys, because your help would be incredible.
Yeah, no, I look forward to it. And I'm also very happy that I know Barry is, well, basically retired, but Eddie is very into the boxing.
Yeah, very
but
much,
the boxing events he does is fantastic. The setup, the whole thing, it's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, he's taken it from zero to hero. I mean, it was when you're a multi-sport company like Matchroom, and I understood probably more than most that you can't be on two shows at once. Nobody can. And the business got very busy. Barry became the chairman of World Snooker, the chairman of World Darts. He's kind of Midas touch. If you need to know the secret to Barry Hearn, his secret's simple. He only ever does things he likes, and he puts the right people in charge. That's the answer. That's the answer to any business.
But when I met Barry first time, I thought he was going to be a snobbish English guy.
Yeah,
and he was the nicest of the nicest of the nicest. I mean, he embraced me. You were there when we met.
Yeah, sure. But that's Barry. I mean, that's part of his charisma, and Eddie's the same.
Yeah, right.
He's got charisma, and I'm 61 years old now, and I know I don't look it. Thanks very much, and everything else. But at times you have to hand the reins over to other people. And I appreciate that. But with me, I'm quite set with the darts now, and in fact, I used to, when I would travel through London, because I did the boxing for so many years. People would know me as the guy from the boxing, but now they know me as the guy from the darts. So, it doesn't take long. I've been doing that full time now on every one of their live TV shows since 2005. So I've been there quite some time, I've done every world championship at Alexandra Palace. I've missed one event I missed. One session at the world championships was last year. Sadly, my father-in-law passed away, and I went to the funeral in the morning, and then I was back at work in the evening. Literally missed one session. But so as far as that goes, you can't do everything. So what Eddie's done, hats off, fantastic. Yeah. It's great for business, great for sport.
Yeah. No, I mean, I had the pleasure to meet him, and he was just as nice as his father was when he was here, and the things they're doing now is amazing. I saw this morning the promotion about Fury and what's his name?
And Joshua.
Yeah. And he's involved in something as big as that. I mean, it's just beyond comprehension. Yeah. I know
there's been some big fights. I mean, I was very lucky. I was involved in, at the time, was the biggest fight, which of course was Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis, which took place on the Muddy in the Mississippi, in the pyramid in the middle of nowhere. And that's probably what will happen with this fight. That will go somewhere different, new, somewhere quite obscure, because people want to create. When we brought the World Pool Championship to the Philippines, there was a buzz. It's like hosting the Olympics. When you do something, it becomes a buzz. People talk about it. You can never put a real value on being involved in stuff like this, for instance, I have some great ideas and plans. I was speaking to a very good friend of ours, Jojo Claudio, the head of Toby Sports in the Philippines,
Correct.
Talking to Congressman Ben Noel, who's brought the darts incredibly, and your good selves. And between the three of us, we will, and I'm including myself with you, between that group, we'll put on a spectacular show. And we'll bring over a couple of interesting players that can't not only bring great skill, but they'll also bring some great tuition, because I think that's important. And we'll do tours of schools, and we'll really do a press scoop that no one can do better than the Philippines. You know, they really do embrace stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to that little adventure. Hopefully as soon as we can, but let's get this problem out the way first. And in the meantime, sport has to go on the back burner, but we'll pretend it's still on the front.
Yeah, no, I remember you told me, I mean, this is 15 years ago. You said, put a pool table in a shopping mall and bring a tournament on. And you bring Efren, Bustamante, and a few guys, and it's automatic. And I think you can do the same thing with the darts.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I went to that tournament and I was very, very surprised. It was run brilliantly. And that was my big fear, because we have at the PDC, it's like clockwork. The way in which the tournaments run, the skill, you're dealing with the best people in the world. The best at their job are involved. So it can only be the best. And I went there and they literally copied everything. So the discipline was there. It was fantastic. And luckily enough, I brought Russ Bray, the world's greatest darts referee.
Yeah, I know Russ.
I brought him, and he did the couple of finals for them. He did the junior final for them, the kids. The kids were made up. I mean, you know, they were so excited. And we did the women's championship as well, and they loved it, and a good standard. And then we did the men's final later on in that evening. So we did 3. I introduced the players, and they had walk-ons and music. They did a great job. And that's what makes me think, you know, we can do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hopefully
the madness just have to end. All right,
Yes.
John, we've been doing it for 30 minutes. Should we end as well?
Perfect.
And you have to give my best to Russ.
I will indeed.
I had a message from Steve Davis the other day, and he said he's willing to do a program, and I look forward to that.
But yeah, he's great, good as gold. Yeah, and Russ will always come on and have a talk to you as well. So
yeah, Russ, anytime. You just ask Russ to call me. I would love to do it.
I'll do that.
And I thank you for your time, John, and I hopefully we can see each other here in the Philippines soon, or in the UK, of course. Because I'm going to stay in your house next time I go there.
No question. You're welcome.
All the best.
All the best. Mabuhay.
Mabuhay.